We're back at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium, generally considered to be one of the nation's top zoological institutions, and my personal favorite zoo. A big reason for both of those facts is the Asia Quest. After over a year of construction, this impressively detailed complex opened in 2 phases in the summer and fall of 2006. The Asia Quest aims to fully immerse visitors in the exhibits using large, attractive habitats blended with the surrounding scenery. The expedition begins in Southeast Asia before venturing across the Himalayas and concluding in the harsh environment of eastern Russia. Between its rare animals, beautiful habitats, and conservation-driven theming, there's a lot that makes this exhibit stand out from the rest. So, let the quest begin! Through the Stone Tiger Foot Archway, our adventure starts in what was actually Phase 2, with a covered bridge adorned by habitats on either side. The left side is outfitted with a manicured terraced lawn, representative of the terrace farming technique used throughout Southeast Asia. Here in Columbus, the terraces are the home of the unusual tufted deer. While these deer are named for the tufts of hair on top of their heads, their most striking characteristic is the visible fang-like canines on the males. Although at first this may make the tufted deer seem like some sort of cryptid, large canines like these are actually quite common amongst Asian deer species, and this won't be the last fanged deer we see on this tour. No, these deer won't be trying to suck your blood, but rather these canines are weaponized during fights over mating rights. Tufted deer belong to the same family as muntjacs, but are the only member of their own unique genus. They roam the mountainous forest of China and Myanmar. Though the tufted deer is not yet endangered, populations are decreasing due to hunting and deforestation. On the opposite side of the bridge, where you would have once seen another fanged deer, you'll now find the tufted deer's former roommates, the red-crowned crane. These cranes spend much of their time in wetland areas where they feed on fish, amphibians, and aquatic invertebrates. Red-crowned cranes are famous for their beautiful courtship dances, which include elegant leaps and bounces, running with outstretched wings, and the cinematic tossing of vegetation into the air. Over the bridge and off to the right is a mesh habitat for the silvered Leaf Langur, but I usually have more luck seeing them inside the Quest for Enlightenment Interpretive Center. Once you make it inside, you're met with 9 sculptures representing the 9 tiger subspecies, but you'll quickly notice that 3 of the sculptures are destroyed, a powerful visual of the permanence of extinction. This message continues with a dragon that guards a crystal ball, which plays a conservation-inspired memo, followed by numerous beautiful murals and displays themed as an Asian marketplace. The displays culminate with the Extinction Station, another unique visual to teach about extinction in a way that no other exhibit I've seen does. After that, it's time to get back to the animals, with the dimly lit indoor accommodations for the zoo's shaggy Sloth Bears, 12-year-old Heidi and 11-year-old Reindeer. Their outdoor habitat can also be viewed from inside the Interpretive Center, but is better seen from outside. So for now, we'll move on to one of the zoo world's most unique hallways. You're first placed in between 2 giant reptiles, with a reticulated python on the right and an Asian water monitor on the left. The world's 2nd largest lizard, only behind the Komodo dragon. Recent studies have discovered that many monitor lizards do in fact have venom glands in their mouths, a trait previously thought to be unique to snakes. The hallway's larger habitat is a one-of-a-kind display with a one-of-a-kind mix of species. There's several Aldabra tortoises, generally considered to be an African species, although in reality they reside on the Aldabra Atoll in the Indian Ocean and not mainland Africa. There's also the blue-faced honeyeater of Australasia, with its striking blue skin on its face and olive green back. However, the star, in my opinion, is the greater Malayan Chevrotain, a living fossil that has remained mostly unchanged for 30 million years. Also called the mouse deer, they are among the smallest hooved animals, and like the tufted deer, the males have protruding upper canines. Chevrotains are prolific breeders, with females mating again just hours after evicting their last offspring, which happens when the young are just 3 months old. In contrast to their very open habitat here, wild Chevrotains live in the dense tropical forest of Malaysia and Indonesia. Like all rainforest creatures, they are threatened by deforestation, but the greater Malayan Chevrotain is still considered a species of least concern. If you thought that was it for this exhibit, you'd be wrong. Don't forget to look up where you'll find a colony of Malayan flying foxes, a species of megabat with a 5-foot wingspan. And now we can move on to the last habitat in the building, which is actually split into 2 exhibits where you can get up close with their troops of silvered leaf langurs. Also going by the Silvery Langur or Silvery Lutung, these Southeast Asian native primates are well adapted for a leaf-heavy diet, with an enlarged stomach and long digestive tract for processing plants, and enzymes and bacteria that can neutralize toxins that protect some leaves. The silver part of their name clearly comes from the color of their fur. However, like other langur species, they are born bright orange. Seems counterintuitive to make your babies easy to spot, except that some of their main predators, like leopards, see the color orange as green, meaning the youngsters actually blend in more with the trees. Since most of their predators are mostly terrestrial, Silvery Langurs rarely descend from the trees, where they are safest and have constant access to food. Through the exit doors is a sort of halfway intermission point. Straight ahead lies the Asian Elephant Conservation Center, previously known as the Vanishing Giants, a building that actually predates the Asia Quest. The habitats along the right end of the building were once 3 simple yards, 1 for the elephants and 2 for the critically endangered eastern black rhino. More recently, the 2 rhino yards were combined for a more geographically appropriate Indian rhinoceros. However, his stay in Columbus ended up being short, as Brian moved to Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo just 2.5 years after he arrived in Columbus. His former space will now be transformed into additional space for the zoo's Asian elephant herd. Inside, you'll find one of the better indoor elephant homes in the US, where I saw a Columbus icon, 36-year-old Hank, one of, if not the largest Asian elephant in North America, along with his longtime companion Connie, who will celebrate her 50th birthday later this year, and has spent her last 32 years at the Columbus Zoo. This strongly bonded pair lived together here in Columbus for 13 years, however that is no longer the case. Last month the pair moved to the Tulsa Zoo per the recommendation of the Asian Elephant Species Survival Plan. Back outside, before you reach the main outdoor elephant habitat, you're first drawn to an attractive, well-detailed moated exhibit. This is the romping grounds of the zoo's Sloth Bears. The Sloth Bear was named by European zoologist George Shaw, who thought the bear's long claws and unusual teeth meant that they were related to sloths, which of course is not the case. Unlike the animal they borrowed the name of, sloth bears are far from slow. In fact, they are quite agile and can comfortably outpace a human. At certain times of the year, up to 95% of the sloth bear's diet consists of insects, primarily ants and termites. Their nostrils are adapted to close completely while carrying out attacks on insect nests to protect themselves from dust and the insects themselves. In addition to insects, the sloth bear's other favorite delicacies include fruit and even flowers. Given their diet, it's surprising to learn that sloth bears kill and injure more people every year than any other bear species. However, their aggression is normally out of self-defense, and their frequent interactions with humans is largely due to the high human populations in their native countries of Sri Lanka, India, and Nepal. Past the bears is the primary outdoor space for the elephants, which the pathway takes you right into the center of, increasing your odds of getting an up-close view of their Asian elephant herd. In addition to Hank and Connie, I also saw Sabu, another impressive bull who has spent the last 2 years in Columbus, but he too has recently left to return to the nearby Cincinnati Zoo to live in their own brand new elephant complex. While in Columbus, zoo officials say Sabu did his best to breed with the zoo's females, and the results of these efforts will be revealed in time. His departure, along with Hank's, opened the door for Columbus to bring in 2 new bulls, one of whom is confirmed to be Raja of St. Louis, who will join the Columbus Zoo herd later this year. The other is Johnson, an 11,500-pound bull hailing from the African Lion Safari in Ontario, Canada, who has already arrived in Columbus and is now being introduced to the rest of the herd, which includes 3 adult females, Phoebe, Sundara, and Rudy, and the fan favorite, Phoebe's 3-year-old son, Frankie. All of these moves are in coordination with the Asian Elephant SSP, with the goal of maintaining a genetically diverse population of Asian elephants in North America. Standing up to 12 feet high at the shoulder, the Asian elephant is second only to their African cousins among the largest land animals. Also, unlike African elephants, only male Asian elephants grow prominent tusks. These males may have to wait until they are 30 years of age before they are large enough to compete for an opportunity to mate. By this age, these males begin to experience periods of increased aggression and sexual activity called must. Once widespread, these giants now exist only in isolated pockets of India and Southeast Asia. Asian elephants prefer a mixed forest and grassland habitat. They spend 12 to 18 hours daily searching for food, eating 10% of their body mass every day. Elephants are excellent swimmers and will completely submerge themselves using their trunks as a snorkel. I could go on about elephants forever, but as the sign says, the quest continues, now focusing on species of Asia's northern regions. First up is the Red Panda, in an exhibit that allows these arboreal experts to do what they do best, spend almost 90% of their time in the trees. They are able to rotate their feet 180 degrees to give their curved, semi-retractable claws a better angle to grip branches. The Red Panda's rusty coat helps them blend in with the reddish-brown lichens and moss that cover the trees in their native forest of China, India, Nepal, Bhutan, and Myanmar. When temperatures get particularly low, red pandas can drop their metabolic rate and enter a deep sleep called torpor, during which they are protected by their thick, woolly fur that covers everything but their noses. Next up is the Asia Quest Aviary, a walkthrough attraction during the warmer months that features birds like the azure-winged magpie, the endangered northern bald ibis, the shmew, a small lake-dwelling merganser from Europe and Asia, as well as 2 non-avian residents, the Burmese mountain tortoise and the Reeves muntjac, our 3rd fanged deer on this tour. Like the Chevrotain, muntjacs are among the world's oldest known species of deer, believed to have appeared between 15 and 35 million years ago. Surprisingly, these little deer are omnivores, feeding on bark, foliage, fruit, seeds, eggs, and even carrion and small mammals. Our next stop is the mountains of Central Asia, home to the world's largest wild goat, the Markhor. The name Markhor is a combination of 2 Pashto words meaning snake horn, which references the species' large spiral horns, and also the local folklore in which it is believed the Markhor's horns give it a mythical ability to kill and eat snakes. A male's horns can grow to over 5 feet in length, while the females usually do not exceed 10 inches long. Of course, Markhors do not actually dine on snakes, instead sticking to a strictly herbivorous diet. Like many mountain-dwelling ungulates, the Markhor switches from a grass-heavy diet in the spring and summer to relying on leaves, twigs, and shrubs for the fall and winter. Markhors definitely live up to the goat reputation, with strong hind legs and wide hooves that allow them to maneuver treacherous terrain, where they often seek out hard-to-reach rock faces to aid in their efforts to evade predators, which is also helped out by their keen eyesight and sense of smell, important tools when you share a range with hunters like the snow leopard. The Markhors can be viewed from 2 additional vantage points as we enter into a covered viewing shelter. The shelter is indeed home to a mountain-dwelling predator, but one that is probably too small to cause the Markhor much bother, the Pallas Cat. These stealthy, secretive hunters focus their efforts on smaller prey like rodents and birds, sometimes parking themselves outside rodent burrows or even sticking their paws down them to try to extract their prey. The Pallas cat was first described to the Western world by German naturalist Peter Simon Pallas in 1776, who mistakenly thought the cat was a wild ancestor of the domestic Persian cat, owing to its similar flattened face and longer hair. This thick coat contains up to 9,000 hairs per square centimeter, allowing the Pallas cat to live in even the most inhospitable environments. Despite being the size of a domestic cat, Pallas cats are known to be particularly aggressive, with kittens being recorded growling before they even open their eyes. Perhaps they are born ready to fight, since Pallas cats mature remarkably quickly, hunting for themselves at just 4 or 5 months old and moving out on their own before their first birthday. Speaking of kittens, back in 2022, the Columbus Zoo welcomed a litter of 3 born to Mother Tina and Father Moose. Moving into the next room is a larger glass viewing window for a habitat that can be viewed again outside, one of the best exhibits around for the critically endangered Amur Tiger, another species the Columbus Zoo has had success breeding, with the most recent litter being born back in 2017. Before we wrap things up, there's 2 more caged habitats that are viewed from an elevated boardwalk. In here you'll usually find another Amur tiger. On this occasion I saw 17-year-old Mara, who has had 3 litters of cubs during her time in Columbus. Over the years, these habitats have also held lions, I think cheetahs, and currently the second habitat is housing the zoo's pair of Mexican gray wolves, while they wait for their new home to be completed in the zoo's North America region. And that was the Asia Quest at the Columbus Zoo, without a doubt one of the top Asian-themed exhibits in the United States, that really drives home the plight these animals are facing in the wild, and inspires you to want to help them. Thank you for walking with me through one of my all-time favorite exhibits. Next week, we'll continue the conservation theme and learn how the Phoenix Zoo saved the Arabian oryx.